I have a crack. No, not that one. This one right here. There's a crack in my bench that is splitting open. There's a row of dog holes, and there's a crack that's developed on the row of dog holes, and I want to fix that because it's driving me bonkers. So let's fix my crack. So when I put my holdfast here in the middle of the bench to hold something, and I put it in this hole, my crack turns into a big crack. And that's not happy. Yeah, you can actually see it was some of the glue that came loose, and in some cases it's the wood. But we want to fix that. When I built the bench, I used Titebond, and that's actually a really good wood glue. But for something like this in a really hard environment where I'm attaching to something else, I really want to use epoxy. It is a stronger bond, and it will do better for the long term. It has a few more things it's got to work with, but today we're going to be using this Total Boat High Performance Epoxy, not wood glue. Up. So when mixing the epoxy, you want to make sure that you mix it completely. So once you think it's mixed, that means you're about halfway. Just keep mixing. Unfortunately, this dog hole goes right into the top of my leg, and so it's always full of crud. So the only way to get it out is to actually drill out all the crud. So now that I've gotten this opened up all the way, I want to spread it as much as I can, and I want to make sure that my stick will reach down in there, because I'm going to try and get the glue in as deep as I can. And I'm going to be getting it all over my bench top. That's perfectly fine, because I'm going to show you the easiest way to get epoxy off. But I want to make sure that I get as much on there as I can. And I'm probably going to get some into the dog holes. That's sad, but it's going to be fine. We'll be able to clean it out later, and I'll show you that as well. So I'm going to take my time and really do this up well. So I want to make sure every spot along the way gets epoxy on it. And I'd rather it drip out all over the floor than not have it in one area. Sitting in here and dripping down. Here comes a heavy drip. It's working its way down. So the basic idea is I want it to drip down in, and then I'm going to use the stick as it drips down in there to smear it back and forth to connect it on all surfaces on the way down. And I can look down in there, and I want to make sure that it touches every surface on both sides all the way down. Now theoretically we should have a really good joint here, so we'll have less problems with that. But now I'm just going to let it sit here and soak in, and then I'm going to come back and put some more, because some of these cracks I can't quite get the stick down in very far. And so on these, I just want it to work its way and let it drip. And this has a decent amount of working time, so I'm going to let this sit for about 5 or 6 minutes and let it drip down into those cracks. So now it's been sitting long enough, and it's dripped down in there, and I've got glue on every surface inside there. We're going to take the holdfast out. Ooh, that was energetic. And then we got to clamp that thing shut. And as my father always used to say, you can never have enough clamps. The nice thing about epoxy is you don't need a severe amount of clamping pressure to fix. Epoxy doesn't need that clamping pressure. However, I do want to get rid of any voids, because that'll give me a better clamp. So I'm going to put several of them on top and several of them on the bottom and really squeeze the snot out of this thing. Add that on there. And whatever you do, make sure you drip epoxy all over your nice new rubber flooring, because that really helps things out big time. So it's just one of those tech tips that you don't get from a lot of other places, but you'll get that here. Or if you really want to be smart, the best thing to do is just to put a rag down to catch it so it doesn't drip onto the flooring. But you know, we can't all be that smart.
It has been a while. Let us continue. Ooh, pretty. The easiest way to get the epoxy off is with a Wood by Wright card scraper. Epoxy actually comes off very easily with a good card scraper. Just take it off layer by layer until eventually you're down to the substrate. Now yes, it's going to look a little bit odd because I'm going to be going into the wood a little ways, but eventually I'm going to be reflattening the whole top, so not a huge issue. Eventually, you get a really nice clean surface here, and that's that. We're going to add a little bit of boiled linseed oil to this, and it'll match it right up. My whole bench is finished multiple times over with boiled linseed oil, so this makes it really easy to reapply. Start to get that really nice golden color. And after finishing a few more pieces of furniture and other things, there'll be enough oil on here this will disappear in. And now comes the next problem, is that the holdfast doesn't want to bite. And that's because, well, we dripped some epoxy down in there, so that's pretty easy to fix. I have a large rat tail file, and we can put that into the hole, just rough it up a little bit, get rid of any of those spots of epoxy in there, and we'll get it rough enough that it will then hold again on the holdfast. And just after a few moments of that, we now have a holdfast that holds, and yeah, no, it's solid. So it's a bit dark over here, sorry for that. And one of the big questions then is, will this hold? And it probably will. But I don't want to test it for another week or so. I want to leave it like that. So I can clamp it this way because I'm not going to be putting pressure on it. But if I turn the holdfast this way, I'm going to be putting torsion back into that. Now another thing I could do is I could come in here and put in a lag screw, 1, 2, and 3, and then this would never be a problem again. But then I would have the lag screw heads countersunk on here, and I could do that, but I don't know if I want to do that yet. So I think I'm going to use that as the last resort. If it pops out again, I'll put in lag screws. The best answer I can find is don't put the seam right down the middle of all of your dog holes. It would be better to have the dog holes in the middle of the board. And that's what I've done on my most recent benches, is just to make sure that the dog holes don't run right down the middle of that seam. I may end up yet still putting lag screws in there. I haven't completely decided on that. But I kind of wanted to do this video not just to show how to fix a crack, but more to understand that a bench is a tool. There is no perfect bench. You're going to be beating it up. You're going to be hurting it in one way or another. And that's not a problem, because tools are meant to be used, to be functioned, and then to be replaced when they wear out. And eventually there will become a day where I will build a new bench. Maybe because I want something with different features, or maybe because this one isn't quite what I want anymore. I'm going to be doing other things. I'm going to be soon flattening the top on this because there's a few dents and dings in this that I want to get out and get it back to nice and true. A bench is a living thing. It is never done. When you build your bench, understand there is no such thing as perfection. Perfection is not a location. Perfection is a direction you head. It's not something you ever achieve. So when things go wrong in your project or something you've done in the past, oh well, that's life. That's just the normal thing. It's not a problem. It's a learning experience. It is a chance to try something different. It is the way things go. And don't overthink it and don't worry about it. That's just life. When things go wrong, great. Learn from it, move on, and have a bit of fun. When a crack shows up on your bench, fix it and keep on building. Here on YouTube, we see a lot of perfection. And a lot of that isn't because people are trying to hide things. It's because it actually takes more work to show defects. It takes more effort to show the problems and what has come up. So that's why occasionally I try to do whole videos on this is something that I did wrong, this is something that is a problem, this is something that broke, and here's what I'm going to do to fix it. It takes more effort, it takes more energy, but I think that's a great way to learn, and not only how do you fix a crack on your bench, but how do you go about issues, things that come up, things that might be really detrimental to your psyche. Learn from it, have a little bit of fun, relax, and realize that there is no such thing as perfection. It's just a direction we all want to try and head. We'll never get there, but as you run into things that aren't perfection, just realize everything around you is not perfection. It's okay. So I hope you like this little bit of a talk. We will see if I put lag screws in here. Stay tuned. I'll probably talk about that in one of the lives upcoming. This will be an interesting experiment to see how it goes. And I probably will be doing a video on reflattening this, which I'm really looking forward to seeing the oak underneath again. This will be a good time. So if you do have any questions or thoughts, maybe something I could have done better, I'd love to hear that. I do love learning and reading through the comments. That means a lot. Throw those down below. Also, if you want to help out the channel, you can hit like and subscribe and share, and those things really help out the video. I know we say this all the time, but honestly, that's one of the best things you can do. If you like a video and you'd like it to be shown to more people, hit like, comment, share, subscribe. Those all help. If you want to go one step farther, you can become a Patreon on Patreon and put your name over here on the side, as well as you can click that little join button and become a member here on YouTube, financially helping out the channel. I don't have any sponsors on this channel, and so I want this to be completely from you, the viewer. So thank you for quite literally keeping the lights on and keeping us going. I think that'll do it for now, and until next time, have a wonderful day. Man, I would love to crack a joke about this video, but due to time, I think we should just crack on.